once again I apologise for the occasional aeroplane or motorbike. I just had a thought as well. I quite like the sound of the grass when I press my hands on it. I'm just going to give you a couple of seconds of that, see if you like it too, but perhaps not, but ignore it. Sins the way people do. Theophrastus says that the ones committed out of desire are worse than the ones committed out of anger, which is good philosophy. The angry man seems to turn his back on reason out of a kind of pain inner convulsion, but the man motivated by desire, who is mastered by pleasure, seems somehow more self-indulgent, less manly in his sins. Theophrastus is right and philosophically sound to say that the sin committed out of pleasure deserves a harsher rebuke than the one committed out of pain. The angry man is more like a victim of wrongdoing, provoked by pain to anger. The other man rushes into wrongdoing on his own, moved to action by desire. Number 11. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. If the gods exist, then to abandon human beings is not frightening. The gods would never subject you to harm, and if they don't exist or don't care what happens to us, what would be the point of living in a world without gods or providence? But they do exist. They do care what happens to us, and everything a person needs to avoid real harm they have placed within him. If there were anything harmful on the other side of death, they would have made sure that the ability to avoid it was within you. If it doesn't harm your character, how can it harm your life? Nature would not have overlooked such dangers through failing to recognise them, or because it saw them, but was powerless to prevent or correct them. Nor would it ever, through inability or incompetence, make such a mistake as to let good and bad things happen indiscriminately to good and bad alike. But death and life, success and failure, pain and pleasure, wealth and poverty, all of these happen to good and bad alike. Number 12. The speed with which all of them vanish, the objects in the world, and the memory of them in time, and the real nature of the things our senses experience, especially those that entice us with pleasure or frighten us with pain, or are loudly trumpeted by pride. To understand those things, how stupid, contemptible, grimy, decaying, and dead they are, that's what our intellectual powers are for. And to understand what those people really amount to, whose opinions and voices constitute fame, and what dying is, and that if you look at it in the abstract and break down your imaginary ideas of it by logical analysis, you realise that it's nothing but a process of nature which only children can be afraid of. And not only a process of nature, but a necessary one. And how man grasps God with what part of himself he does so, and how that part is conditioned when he does. Number 13. Nothing is more pathetic than people who run around in circles, delving into the things that lie beneath, and conducting investigations into the souls of the people around them, never realising that all you have to do is be attentive to the power inside you and worship it sincerely. To worship it is to keep it from being muddied with turmoil and becoming aimless and dissatisfied with nature, divine and human. What is divine deserves our respect because it is good. What is human deserves our affection because it is like us. And our pity too, sometimes, for its inability to tell good from bad, as terrible a blindness as the kind that can't tell white from black. Number 14. Even if you're going to live 3,000 more years, or 10 times that, remember, you cannot lose another life than the one you're living now, or live another than the one you're losing. The longest amounts to the same as the shortest. The present is the same for everyone. Its loss is the same for everyone. And it should be clear that a brief instant is all that is lost. For you can't lose either the past or the future. How could you lose what you don't have? Remember two things. First, that everything has always been the same and keeps recurring, and it makes no difference whether you see the same things recur in 100 years or 200 or an infinite period. Second, that the longest lived and those who will die soonest lose the same thing. The presence is all that they can give up, since that is all that they have, and what you do not have, you cannot lose. is a kind of secession from nature which compromises the nature of all things. When it returns its back on another person or sets out to do it harm, as the souls of the angry do. 3. When it is overpowered by pleasure or pain. 4. When it puts on a mask and does or says something artificial or false. When it allows its action and impulse to be without purpose, to be random and disconnected. Even the smallest things ought to be directed toward a goal. But the goal of rational beings is to follow the rule and law of the most ancient of communities and states. 17. Human life. Duration, momentary. Nature, changeable. Perception, dim. Condition of body, decaying. Soul, spinning around. Fortune, unpredictable. Lasting fame, uncertain. Sum up. The body and its parts are a river, the soul a dream and mist. Life is warfare and a journey from home. Lasting reputation is oblivion. Then what can guide us? Only philosophy, which means making sure that the powers within stay safe and free from assault, superior to pleasure and pain, doing nothing randomly or dishonestly and with imposture, not dependent on anyone else's doing something or not doing it, and making sure that it accepts what happens and what it is dealt as coming from the same place it came from, and above all, that it accepts death in a cheerful spirit as nothing but the dissolution of the elements from which each living thing is composed. If it doesn't hurt the individual elements to change continually